My name's Trent Wise. I'm the Moorhead City Forester. I'm going to demonstrate how to properly plant a tree so that we can get the trees up at MB Johnson installed properly. Alright, so the trees that we're going to be getting are going to be bare root trees, meaning that they're not going to be in a pot. And what they're going to be, I believe they're going to come in a plastic bag just around the roots. So what we would like you to do, once you are assigned a zone, you figure out your zone, and you'll come out here, and the area should look somewhat like this. The hole won't be dug yet, but the sod is going to be scraped away. So there'll be a flag. You pull the flag out, it'll tell you what type of tree that you need to select. But first you need to dig your hole. We'd like you to dig the hole 1.5 to 2 times the size of the root ball. So dig it to the size you think it needs to be. Then go get your tree. Then bring it back. Once you get it back, then you should take the roots out of the bag. That way they'll stay moist or damp long enough. As the roots are exposed to air, they can dry out and then die. So the least amount of time they're exposed to the air, the better. So then once you take the root ball out of the bag, you'll see if you need to dig your hole a little bigger or if you're good to go. So we've pre-dug this hole, and we have a bare root tree here that we're going to be planting. So we have already made sure that this is good. So we're just going to cover this up. Before we do that, I just want to point out that when you plant the tree, you want the roots to be this first flare root, it's called. It's where the roots meet the trunk and you kind of get this natural flare. You want that to be right at ground level or slightly above. So this is right where we want it. So we're just going to cover this up. Cover it up. You just want to get as much dirt in here as possible. When planting bare root trees, it's important that you pack some of the dirt into these voids here. I'm not sure if you can see it in the video, but if you get chunks of dirt, sometimes it'll like hit 2 roots and it'll block it, and then you'll get this big void where there's no dirt and it's all airspace. So it's important that we get dirt in all those areas. So we're just gonna cover it up as best we can here. And next thing we're gonna do is just stomp it down a little bit. It's good to have pore space, but if you have too much, it can be problematic. So we're just gonna tamp it down a bit with our foot, and then we'll continue to put more dirt over it. You can use a rake if you want, or a shovel. Okay, so just continue to get all the dirt fanned out. We don't want a big pile next to the stem, the trunk of the tree. So just spread it out as best you can. Once you get it spread out, we can go to the next step. The next step is going to be putting on this hardware mesh. This is for vole protection. Oh, I'm jumping out of order. First, put the tree guard on. To install the tree guard, I always like to put my fingers in the seam here, just kind of open it up. Especially on younger trees, if you don't do this, you can potentially scratch the bark, causing a little wound to the tree. So once the tree guard's on, we're going to take our mesh and we're going to put this around. We're going to be using zip ties to do this. So you'll just overlap it in one spot, and you will use your zip tie here to fasten it together. We'll do one on the top and one on the bottom. Here's our top one, and the bottom one in here. Again, this is for vole protection. That's why it's so fine. The squares are so small. So what we're going to do is try and get it centered around the tree. And then there will be some landscape staples around. And we'll take those and we'll put them, try to put them probably in the bottom or as close to the bottom as you can. And then just step it in like that. That will just make sure that it stays anchored. And we'll do one on each side. Okay, once we are complete with that, next comes the mulch. We're gonna mulch this entire area. We have removed the sod so that we won't hopefully have much grass or weed competition, but we'll make sure we put down mulch as well. Try and use, it's gonna take quite a few pails. We're gonna try and get 3-inch coverage in the whole square. Mulch is good because it will reduce that weed and grass competition. It will retain moisture in this area, and as it breaks down, it'll add organic matter. We always try and keep it a couple inches away from the trunk of the tree. The roots need oxygen, so if we can keep it away, this mesh will help with that as well. So we'll get this all placed. So it's about 3 inches. You can always kind of work it into. That'll compact it a little more if you have a little too much. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Got it around the whole square. Next thing we're gonna do, grab some water. I would recommend watering 10 gallons, so 2 5-gallon pails. For this demonstration, we're just gonna do the 1 pail, but we will come back and do another one. And just spread it around where the roots are. Get that covered, and we'll come back and water the tree with our water truck. Forestry will, and we'll water the trees. When we plant new trees, we water them for 2 growing seasons. So that is the process for getting the tree in the ground. From here, forestry crew will be coming around to pound the posts, and then we have volunteers that will come and put fencing around and put the straps on the trees that will hold them in place until they're secured in the ground and we no longer need those.